left here. All right, we're live. Hey, Greg, how are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself? And hi,
Good.
Kelly.
Hi, Kelly Kalish, our special guest. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, you're super welcome. So, as people are kind of tuning in here, we'll kind of talk a little bit about history. So I thought of you and wanting to be on this live stream because you have a bit of an interesting history with real estate. How you've just told me you've been licensed for 3 years.
I've been licensed for 3.5.
3.5.
For 3.
But you've really been full-time since January.
Yes.
Okay. I thought that could be kind of fun because there's a lot of people who either do this business part-time or who are just going full-time. And then you've had some really cool recent success that I think anyone can learn from. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So my first question for you, Kelly, is why did you choose to get into real estate?
Well, I chose to get into it initially because I wanted to go into commercial real estate.
Oh,
not
yeah.
residential. And I had lost a job that I had doing consulting for instructional design and was trying to figure out what to do in Grand Rapids. I recently relocated back to Grand Rapids after living in Detroit, and the market I was in Detroit was much larger, and it was hard for me to find a position in my field here in Grand Rapids.
And so, Kelly, in the last 3 years, have you been back and forth to Detroit even in that 3 years time period, or have you always been in Grand Rapids now?
Working?
Yeah.
I've always been in Grand Rapids.
Okay, so for the last 3 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
But full-time in your mind, and what do you consider full-time? Because that's really an interesting concept today too, because I don't really know what full-time is anymore.
Full-time for me means I have no other additional sources of income. Like I'm not working part-time at a bar at night, or I don't have any online gigs or anything like that. This is really my focus full-time.
Is there in your mind, is 30 hours full-time? Is 50 hours? I mean, what's it?
I think you're asking how many hours you work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I think it'd probably be closer to like 40 hours a week that I don't work, if that. I feel like I work constantly, to be honest. And I'm okay with that right now because I feel like I'm still building my business and I'm building my brand, and I don't have kids, I'm not married, so I have the availability to pour myself into it in that way right now. And also it brings me a lot of joy. So if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be spending the time on it.
Okay, let me ask a couple of questions now. So the first time you jumped into real estate, because you were kind of part-time, and then you were kind of like, you had other side work over here. So what changed? What shifted? Do you notice a difference in how you're approaching real estate now as compared to when you were full-time, other than simply hours worked?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first joined 5-Star, I was still in that trying to recover from my lost career in Detroit phase. And I had applied for a position at Amway, and then also thought I didn't want to lose my license that I had earned. So I would just kind of park it at 5-Star, since I knew Paul and his wife, Lindsay. So I knew that they did real estate, and maybe I could just park my license here. I didn't really know what that even meant. And I just thought, well, I'll try residential real estate. If I don't get the position at Amway, and if I do get the position at Amway, I'm going to go where I have a set salary, because that's what's comfortable to me and what I know. And I did get the position at Amway. So in my mind, I was thinking I would just ramp up with real estate and eventually make the leap. But the position I had made that impossible, because I just didn't have a lot of flexibility in that particular role. So I was only at Amway for a year, and I think I may have had 2 transactions that year in real estate, and just, really just kind of kept paying the fees to 5-Star. Like, I don't want to lose this. I sat for the exam, but I'm not really doing much with it. And then there was about 6 months there where I thought I was going to try to do it full time. I went through ninja training, and I didn't really do much business in those 6 months either. And then I was offered basically my dream job that I had been trying to get for 2 years at Hayworth. So that was in February of 2020. And then COVID hit and I was laid off from that position. So my position was eliminated. And that was in August of last year. So that's when I really started reevaluating. For a while, I thought, okay, I'm going to try to find another corporate job because I want benefits and I'm used to having a cushy salary. But come December, so last year from August to December, I had a few transactions. So I was doing really well where I was balancing real estate and working at Hayworth. And that was a really happy flow for me until I lost that position. And then come December, I just realized I don't want another corporate job. I really I want to focus my energy on this. This has the biggest potential for return for my investment financially, for my energy, I have some health concerns too. So if I need to take a nap in the middle of the day, I can do that. If I want to work until midnight, I can do that too.
So. Okay. So in terms of like how you approached it when you were sort of like, well, I'll just see what happens before till now. So now you're working like mad hours, you're working lots of hours. So how many like you said you've been full-time since January of this year?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how many transactions, how many buyers, what's your pipeline look like?
My pipeline right now is pretty packed. I'm working on closing out my 8th transaction this year. So I'm averaging one a month. But the last 2 months the last 3 months I've had 2 each. So there were a couple months where I didn't have one. I had one in January. I don't think I had any in February. I had one in March, didn't have any in April or maybe even May. And then I had like two. And then so.
But it seems to be ramping like this.
Ramping up.
Okay.
Yeah, ramping up.
And tell me about how many buyers do you think you're working with right now and how many listings and possible listings are you looking at?
I was just working through my spreadsheet today to follow up with people. I have a handful of both buyers and sellers that want to work with me in the next few months. Cool. So I'm just trying to figure out the timing of how are we going to make this work and where are they located and how to make
it. So was it terrifying when you decided you were like, weren't going to look for another 9-to-5 job and you were going to go full-time into this business?
At what point?
Like in January when you were like, I'm doing this.
Oh, at that point, I was very excited about it.
Okay.
I was like,
there was no fear.
No. I think there was a lot of anxiety and fear leading up to that decision where I was trying to find another corporate job and I had applied for 50 jobs and kept getting rejected. And I was like, I know I'm a capable person. I have, over 10 years of business experience. I have a master's degree. I'm an entrepreneur. Like I have things that I can bring to the table, but no one wants me to work with them. So I'll just figure it out somewhere else. Yeah.
You got a question there, Greg?
Well, I'm smiling because I'm thinking back to early, in my early days of real estate and thinking about corporate America and all the security and having a conversation with my dad about this. And, I had these friends that had the cushy jobs. They had benefits. Some of them had cars. They were done at 5 p.m. They didn't work weekends. And, it was like, it looked really enticing. But on the other hand, as my dad said to me, he said, none of those people really has security. There is no security in a corporation. And as Kelly just pointed out here, she just saw that twice here with Amway or from the other company, Detroit plus Hayworth, there is no security. So the security is within. And we continue to see this over the years that the security is the grit, the perseverance, the smarts, the humility, the hard work. That's the security blanket. And yet we want to rely on somebody else. And what I love about this business is that it takes all that other stuff away and it makes it really clear that it's up to you to get up in the morning, go to work, figure it out. How am I going to meet somebody new? How am I going to meet somebody new that wants to buy or sell a house? Because you can meet a lot of people that aren't going to do anything.
Well, this is actually a pretty good segue into how Kelly is trying to find people who are buying and selling houses. So Kelly, you, well, how many weeks ago was it we made that video for you? Or we helped you? You actually did a lot of the work, but the video.
The gnome video it went live last week.
Previous one.
Oh gosh, I'd have to look at a calendar. I want to be June.
Okay.
Off the top
So
of
tell us a little bit about your strategy and your approach to your building your business and what you've done. I want you to specifically tell me about some of the success you've had from your videos and your open houses.
Okay. I have a bunch of notes too, because I just didn't want to
Cool. Yeah,
miss
sounds great.
in case. So that house that we did the initial video for was I'm just going to call it the 4 Mile house because it's on 4 Mile. And that was a friend of mine who was listing her house with me, and she'd been there for 20 years and had a lot of history in that home. So I wanted to just go all out for her, you know, and give her the best experience possible. I would do that for anyone, but this in particular felt like an extremely emotional sale for her. And I had seen Dustin Anderson's videos. Obviously, everybody's seen those. And that was definitely an inspiration for me. Starting in January too, I also made a commitment to try to be more active on social media, because with COVID, there were just limited ways to really interact with people in person. And again, like with my health concerns, I wasn't in large group settings. So I started to be more strategic about my Instagram presence and just putting content out there. And so part of that content vision was like, let's create a video too. And I felt like I had a little bit of room to fail, even though I didn't set out to fail, but we were close friends. So it was like, okay, if the video doesn't turn out great, there's not really that much lost here, right. But I'm going to do my best. I think it'll turn out awesome. And I want to go above and beyond for her and have some content. So we made the video, and also I have a background my career is in instructional design. So that's what I had been doing for 10 years. And the video really leveraged a lot of the skill sets that I had from my prior career with storyboarding and copy editing, copywriting, just like setting up all of the scenes. I've done a lot of video productions. I used to manage a creative team with a video producer and a copy editor and designer. So it was definitely already in my wheelhouse. It wasn't like super far for me to do that. So we did it, and it just turned out to be a lot more of a success than I had even imagined it to be. Yeah. I really didn't have so much.
Really quickly, we'll share a link here too, but it's a really creative kind of like heartwarming little video with kids walking through a home. It's really beautifully shot. It's like a nice heartwarming video. So what happened after you released the video on social media?
Yeah, after we released the video, so Dom, also shout out to Dominic because he did the videography, and that was awesome.
5-star videographer, awesome dude.
With me too, because I'm very particular. So he was patient with all of my particularities. But I just did a tally today. I wanted to see what the current stats are. And on Facebook, we have 2,500 views on that video. And then it said we reached 3,350 people. And on Instagram, we have 794 views. And Facebook, we had 19 shares. I also posted it to LinkedIn, and we had 451 views on LinkedIn. One of the
most exciting stats for me on that is the 19 shares. Like the reason that for anyone watching right now, and if you guys want to talk about marketing, we'd love to talk to you. But the reason shares are really interesting to watch is when someone shares a video, that's a distinct action where they said, this is good enough where I'm going to share this with my friends in my sphere. I'm going to introduce Kelly to everyone that I know. So I'm going to vouch for Kelly, saying, check out this awesome video that Kelly made. And when you're releasing content on your own pages or you're doing something on Facebook, if you're not getting any shares at all and a handful of likes, that means like, I don't know. I mean, just think about it. Like if people aren't willing to share your content, that tells you what but then when they do share a video like this, it's free advertising, sort of, right? It's like, and it's also like sphere-based advertising because they're all vouching for Kelly, saying, look at this person. So anyways, on we go.
Yeah, with the video too, let me see here. I had some things that I set out originally, like strategic, that I wanted in the video that I also carried over into the known video. So I wanted the address to be known so that people have that repeating in their head. I had a cameo of myself in both of them just because I'm still building my brand recognition. I'm really awkward on camera. Dom can attest to that. We did some outtakes where it was like me talking about the house, and it just went terrible. So we scrapped all of that and we just gave me non-speaking roles. But I do say my name because a lot of people mispronounce my name. They call me Kellie Kalish or Kalish. And so I wanted specifically to have my name pronounced in the video for recognition. We wanted it to be less than 2 minutes. And then I wrote the script. There was some content, I guess, creation there. It was strategic. And then props, tons of props. So I think none of the videos would be anything without all of the props.
Yeah,
And
the details matter.
yeah, I brought props and some of them were my own.
So let's get this straight. So the video is a success, thousands of views on all the platforms, shared 19 times. My favorite stat personally is the shared 19 times. What
The new
happened?
one was shared 22 times.
What was it?
The new one has been shared 22 times. And
Before we
only
get to the new video, what happened after the first video? Did you get any listings? Did you get any buyers? What happened?
I did. I got, I was trying to add it all up because it was even more than I thought. So I got one buyer that I helped buy a house within a couple weeks. Like
One transaction.
Yeah, and
directly related to the video.
Yeah, directly after the video, within 2 weeks, we were under contract for her.
Okay. Awesome.
I got a client in Colorado, a random person I've never met before who saw the video somehow on Zillow and is moving to Grand Rapids in October and wants to work with me for $300,000 to $400,000 house.
Okay, so there's two.
Then I got the gnome listing out of it.
So a listing.
Mm-hmm.
Are they buying or leaving the city?
She is going to rent right now.
Okay.
And pay off all her debt. So I'm thrilled for her.
Okay.
And then I had another friend, a long-term friend who reached out, who loved the video, has a background in video production. And we had a listing appointment too. And he's probably going to keep his as a rental, but wants to buy another house. So I'm going to help him with that.
Okay.
And I have another long-term friends who reached out to me about listing their house probably within the next year.
Okay.
All right. So I got a couple.
One more. I might have one more buyer.
Yeah.
All right.
You got the list. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Greg.
All right. So there's some things that I want to bring out here. Lots of agents today are going to get a listing and it's probably going to be sold in a day or two, multiple offers. Should they make a video?
It depends on how much they're willing to invest in their business, honestly. So I ran the numbers this morning. I wanted to be prepared for this conversation, and because you featured it on Classroom, but for the gnome video that I did for this one, I knew going into it, I'm not going to make a lot of money on this. I'm choosing to make the investment for the long-term potential. I think that the reward is absolutely there. It's a lot of work in a short amount of time too, because if you think of all of the work that normally goes into making a listing, the timing is key. So in addition to getting the property ready and getting your lockbox set up and adding it to the MLS, within that same 24-hour window, you're recording, editing, producing a video, because it has to go live at the same time as the listing. So it's a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth it. And it does cost money too. So
what was the cost, Kelly, on these two videos?
Yeah, so the cost for the 4 mile video ended up being, let's see here, right around, it was $500 to do the video. I spent $700 or $75 to have Dom do an outtakes reel because I wanted to have more content. And I spent about, let's see here, I just added up my total marketing costs for that house was $1,163.
Okay.
That includes photos, that includes video, that includes staging.
Actually, it was 1,400. Include sites. So I divided up all of my receipts. I have them tagged by site specific and then reuse investment. So I can tell, like, is this just a sunk cost where it's only available for this property, and I would put like the video under that. With Hollywood is the known video one. I have more specific costs. So the video itself, I spent $778, almost $800 on that one, between the video and then about $300 for props. But for that property, again, and this is a small house, I spent $4,200 to list it. I chose to. I knew that that was an investment in my business. And so of that $4,200, $2,000 of that is site specific, where it's just like essentially money out the window. It's not money out the window, but I'm not going to recover that cost. The other two, and included in that is the video and furniture renting. But I did buy some pieces for staging and for furniture. And that falls onto that reuse investment fees. And so I spent about $2,000 on this listing strategically that I know I can reuse for future listings.
So let me pause for a second. So
Yeah.
that seems like a lot of money to invest in a single house, right? But I think what I hear you saying is that you said, well, I'm really kicking off my business. I want to make a splash. I want to have assets that I can continue using to market going forward. So like, let's say you were going to open up a shop somewhere, or you were going to create a store, or you were going to do something, right? You'd have to invest in a marketing website. You have to invest into some sort of platform to do e-commerce. You'd have to have inventory. You'd be invested probably $50,000 minimum into opening up a store.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're basically saying is, look, this is small in the big picture, what I'm doing right now to invest to amplify my business, to amplify the efforts that so you're going over the top intentionally.
I am, and it is strategically too. So like the 4 Mile house, that ended up, because I was helping her buy and sell, it was $630,000 transaction,
Right.
buy sell. And then right on the heels of that, I had that other $185,000 very quick purchase with the buyer. And so there wasn't any outlay for me on that. This one, I'm not losing money on it, but I'm choosing to give away or invest, I would say, over half of my commission, because to me, it's a marketing.
You made like over $20,000 on the first listing. Then you helped her buy a house, and then you got an immediate purchase, but then you also got the listing that you just invested $4,000 into.
Yeah.
So you're going to be up $30K, $35K on this project.
Oh, so let me jump in here real quick. So Kelly, you started off in the beginning, and it was kind of like one of the words you used was, this was a very emotional situation.
Yeah.
And yet, as I'm listening to this right now, I'm hearing a very calculated business strategy.
Yeah, it was emotional for my seller. It was emotional for her to sell the house. And so I wanted to honor that.
Yeah. But you were engaged in that emotionally as well, too.
Yeah.
And so, and as real estate agents, I'm looking at this and I'm going, one of the things that we've tried to convey over the years is that many people approach real estate, maybe it's a place to meet people, and, for whatever reason, they want to get out of the house, and they're not really looking at it as a business. So when you look at it as a business, you're looking at these things. Each of these things you were talking about is an investment. And what I find so interesting is that you were able to invest some money, no guarantees that you're going to get anything, that you're going to get a dime back, which is what business is. And you're getting an opportunity where you're able to make decisions versus a corporation telling you what you're going to do when you walk in and giving you a project. You're able to do it your way, to put your twist on it. And there's so many things that come out of this. It's like all these things you're doing was not about just that one deal. The first person, the second person. And it's like, to me, we have lots of agents right now that are probably enjoying spending as little as possible and maximizing, because these things are selling within day. I mean, it's not uncommon in a normal market that you're going to be out there 90 days. The seller's going to be pounding on your door. What are you doing for me? What more can you do for me? And no agent has had to really do a lot of that in the last few months or last few years, because the buyers are standing at the door. But what we're talking about is building leads. And so many people are willing to go out and pay for leads today. And you're creating leads. And so I'm looking at this and I'm
also,
going,
and also what I think she's doing beyond just paying for leads, because sometimes, paying for leads, the moment you stop paying, they stop coming. Right.
yeah.
Whereas with this type of marketing, when you're building this goodwill and you're building these essentially raving fans and ambassadors of Kellie's brand, the referrals will keep coming organically as she grows this thing. It's the old saying, take care of your clients like as best as you possibly can for 5 years, and they'll take care of you for the rest of your life. Remember that old saying, Greg?
Oh yeah.
Yep. And so what she's doing here is she's not taking the easy route. She's not taking the easy little like, hey, I just got to pop a sign on the yard, boom, bang, done. We're good to go. I was using this example the other day with some realtors about, I kind of had this realization quite a few years ago when I was sitting at a listing table and I was competing for this person's business, right? And I kid you not, she said, what type of sign will go in our front yard? And I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, will we get one of those metal ones or will we get the one that hangs? And I was like, well, which one do you want? She goes, well, the hanging one, obviously. And I was like, just think about something as small as that. Like I'm using this as a very micro example of making your clients happy and making them feel special and making them feel cared for. And so much so that they'll tell everyone they know about you, right? Which is how we see these top realtors year after year after year ending up right on top because they're so good at giving support to their people. I think what Kellie's doing with these videos is she's creating an army of ambassadors, right? She's creating an army of fans who are like, oh man, this person is second to none. And that's when you look at some of these really successful realtors and you go, how did they do this? These are some of the ways. Anyways. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, the signs look better in the pictures too, which helps with your brand.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. So Kellie, as we're coming to an end here at the end of the half an hour here, we always try to keep it in that range. So I guess what I want to ask you is if you could, and I don't want to put you in the position of, putting yourself out there as like, I'm this, killer top agent, and I mean, really you're pretty fresh, in terms of at the beginning here. But what I wanted people to see and what I'm so excited to see is what you're doing and the success you're having and what is transpiring. And I want to encourage you to continue. And that even if you didn't get 6 leads, I would still be saying you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And so we've always said, just do the right thing. Just get up every day, do something, do the right thing, push forward. And I just want to encourage you to continue, even if you have a little lull, that this is the type of thing in today's market you're using the videos, the technologies, the Instagrams and the Facebooks and all this other stuff, which is really, I think where a lot of the younger people, but also the middle-aged people too, need to be a part of this.
And I think Kellie and Greg, I agree with you 100% on that, Greg, that she's on the right track. And this is just keep going this way and it's going to blossom into something awesome. But what I really want people to notice right now is it's not just one video. It's not just a single marketing effort. What I've seen Kellie do on these videos, which I think is going to pay off tenfold, is she's using every single opportunity and she's going, how can I maximize this single opportunity that I have? And how can I maximize this? And how can I amplify me putting a listing sign or a for sale sign in the yard? And how can I get 6 marketing things from this? How can I create these cool interactions constantly from just from a handful of opportunities that are in front of Kellie, but it looks like she's working. It looks like she's all over the place. If you go to her page and you see what she's up to, she's a very active realtor, but from a very but if you think of actual transaction close, we're at 8 for the year, which is awesome, but it's not like she's got 8 a month, but she's doing such a fantastic job saying, I am here, I'm serious, look what I'm doing, here's what I'm up to. And you're seeing Kellie's volume is going to ramp like this. And she's already now, our next conversation that Kellie and I are going to have later are, hey, she's beginning to feel overwhelmed because she's becoming in demand now. And she's wondering, how do I balance my time? Which is a good problem to have. Isn't that the problem we all wished we had when we first started in the business anyways?
Yep.
So anyways, Kellie, I think that I just want to say congratulations to you for putting the effort in to waking up every day thinking about what you can do and how you can market yourself today and tomorrow and the next day. So seriously, awesome job. And I'm just so excited to see where this kind of continues for you.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you so much for having me
Is there
on.
anything else you want to say, Kellie, that you didn't say today before we wrap?
I want to encourage people to operate out of their strengths. That was something that was a challenge in corporate. I felt like they were always trying to balance out my weaknesses. And this is like a common theme in successful business books, is to just, the most successful people in life leverage their strengths instead of trying to counterbalance out their weaknesses. And so for me with the videos, I'm leveraging some strengths that I have. There are tons of weaknesses I have that I would not do well in, and I've had lots of marketing failures too. But I just want to encourage people, if video is your thing, great, do a video too. But if it's not, leverage the strengths that you do have. Like, I would be a total failure if I tried to start a golf league, because I don't golf and it's not my thing, but that could be someone else's equivalent of a video where they get that compounding success. So I just think, you know, I've had some time this year with being unemployed to really evaluate my skill sets and what I wanted, how I want to build my business and my brand. And video was something I made sense for me, but there's a lot of things that could make sense for other people too.
Yep. Absolutely, Kellie. I think you're 100% right on that. So I guess in conclusion, if you're watching this video and you're wondering, what are your strengths? How do you apply them? Whether they be via cold calling, via golf league night, or via video, reach out to any one of us and we will sit down with you, have a cup of coffee, and help you navigate how you can figure out how you can maximize your opportunities in front of you. That's what we really want to help you do. So anyways, Kellie, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I'll be calling you in a second so we can continue the conversation. And thanks, Dad, for being on here.
Yep.
And we'll see you all later.
Thank you, Greg.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.